Today I'm going to be reviewing a relatively new release from Thomas Nelson. This is the New King James Version single column verse by verse reference Bible. And we're going to get the New King James Version comfort print, which I love. We're also going to get the words of Christ in red and 72,000 crossed reference passages. I have the brown genuine leather cover, but there's a couple different cover options that you can choose from. And this is going to be, like it says on the front, a single column layout. It is verse by verse edition, which if you don't know what that means, don't feel bad. I didn't know either until I started reviewing Bibles. It just means that each verse starts on a new line. So if you're preaching or if you're looking for a verse quickly in church that your pastor is preaching on, you're looking up a reference that he's reading or referring to, it can make it a little bit easier to find that verse. And I love the cross references in this one. It is line matched, which is always really helpful. We're going to have 2 satin ribbon markers, and we're going to have a 9-point font size. So let's dig into this here. Try not to shake the table too much. Okay, so here's the cover. It's nice and smooth. I like that it's kind of a marbled look to it. I really like the feel of the leather. Very nice, very attractive. And then I like the spine with the raised hubs. I don't know why I just really like raised hubs. It's just something I always enjoy for some weird reason, but to each their own. And then we have these, they're outlined in the gold, which I think makes them stand out. We have Holy Bible, New King James Version, and then the symbol here for Thomas Nelson. We're going to get perimeter stitching. We're going to have a red and brown ribbon marker, double-sided satin, very nice ribbons. And then we're going to get this fun and crazy page gilding here. So I like that pattern. Get a synthetic paste down liner, and then we're going to have a presentation page. We get a table of contents. Let me shift this box a little bit. Sorry, I just made that squeak in a really not fun way. But I wanted to get it out of the way. Then we're going to get abbreviations and a preface to the New King James Version. And then we're going to get into the Old Testament. Maybe. It's there somewhere. There it is. Okay, so you're going to see we're going to get our references on the inside margin here. And then you can see how it's verse by verse. Each verse is on a new line. Okay. Nice 9-point font, super easy to read. I like how in the New King James Version single column that I have, it's not the verse by verse, it's the one that's been out for a while. It's in a paragraph setting. I like how they have the red accents in there, so I think it would have been nice to have an accent color in this one too, but that's just a personal preference. Doesn't make any difference to reading the Bible. I really like how they did these references on the inner margins, because sometimes when you have those references on the outer margins, then the scripture kind of falls into the gutter a little bit, and you have no worry of that here. So I really like that they did that in this edition. I think it makes it easier to read. I think this would be a great Bible to take to church. It's not a thin line or anything, but it's not super heavy either. And it would be easy to pick out those verses as you're following along with your sermon in church. And I've said this many times before, but I love the New King James Version comfort print. I think it's so easy to read. I love the boldness of it, and it's just really easy on my eyes, and I can read it for long periods of time, which I very much appreciate. So I always like looking at Bibles in that New King James Version comfort print. So hopefully you can see this. I'm talking and I'm not looking at what angle I have the Bible in. That would help. You want to see the Bible, not just hear me. Here we are in Psalms. Let's go back into the New Testament now. Went a little far there. There we go. So we're going to have red letter. I would rather have black letter. I said that in many, many videos. But that being said, Thomas Nelson does a very good job with red letter. The worst thing about red letter is when it's like just too light, or it's not consistent, or it makes it hard to read for longer periods of time. I don't think this does that. So for me, this wouldn't be a deal breaker to purchase this Bible, even though I do prefer black letter. Okay, let's go ahead and head to the back of this Bible. almost at the end of Revelation here. Went a little too far before. And I will say too, I said this is line match. I think the paper is pretty decent too. I'm not 100% sure what the GSM of the paper is, but I'm not having trouble turning it. I'm not seeing any, show through that's crazy from the text on the other side, especially since it's line matched. So if you're going to use any highlighters or anything, definitely test them on a tester page here in the back of the Bible, but I don't think you would have much of an issue, especially if you use like a gel highlighter or something that's not going to bleed through. Okay, we're going to get a concordance. Okay, nice size concordance here, typical of what you'd see in other editions. We're going to get a note regarding the type, and then we're going to have our maps. And then we're going to get to the end of the Bible. So if you like single column, verse by verse editions, you're going to love this one because the comfort print's easy to read. It's a 9-point font, so it's not super small. It's easy to find those verse references if you're using it in Bible study or church. It's not a thin line, super tiny Bible, but it's also not very big and heavy either, so this would be very easy to carry from place to place and use as well. Or maybe if you're a pastor, it might be a good one to preach from. I mean, obviously I can't speak from that from experience, but I know of other pastors who like that verse by verse layout, and it's not like a super tiny 7 or 8-point font either. So this would probably be good for that as well. So I'm excited to use this here for some of my Bible studies and dig into using this more. And this is the New King James Version single column verse by verse reference Bible. And I'm going to be doing a video soon where I compare all of my favorite layouts and formats of Thomas Nelson's New King James Version Bibles. So be on the lookout for that because I will be including this one and several other editions in that as well.